Good morning. Uh, we are in southern Spain. Kind of irrelevant. I don't think I'm going to fly today. Basically, my goal today was to kind of go over my first impressions of the VR controller support in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Um, I have been using VR controllers in basically an X-plane for, I think coming on 3 years. I have been using the Valve Index controllers for over 2 years. I got them in would have been July 2 years ago. So it's over 2 years I've been using these particular controllers, the Valve Index. Uh, and I basically pre-ordered the first ones I could put my hands on. And because what I like is I can basically, they're attached to my hand, so I can absolutely control the airplane, land an airplane, and that controller never left my hands. I never set them down. I don't have to. So, so I've been flying that way since I got the Valve Index controllers in X-plane for, like I said, over 2 years. And so when I heard Microsoft Flight Simulator was bringing VR controller support, I was quite excited. That was the last thing that would have allowed me to better use Microsoft Flight Simulator because I stream in VR, so that's kind of what I do, and and it was very using the mouse for me. It was difficult to stream Microsoft Flight Simulator in VR. It wasn't a comfortable experience for me. So I did a little bit of it, and the other thing that happened is every time they do an update, somehow they break something. So software update 7 was no different. They broke some things, some VR things, but thanks to the people on the forums, on Reddit, on Discord, I think I've kind of figured out how to get everything working as well as it can until we get a hot fix. So so that's kind of where I am right now. I use X-Plane VR controller support as a benchmark as to how I personally feel is I would never say it's ultimate, but it can be a very good experience. So I use that as a benchmark, and I judge other Sims VR controller support against that. Just how my base of knowledge would be the right way to put it. So kind of the first thing that software update 7 broke was normally I like to get rid of this yoke sitting in front of me here. I have a physical one in front of me, but I'd like to get rid of the virtual one because it kind of opens up the switches and stuff a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to get to the switches. But I haven't found a way around that yet. Um, and I'll do constantly today. I'll constantly compare against X-Plane. It's just uh, how how I think X-Plane has a command. If I push on this button over here in X-Plane, if I push on this button, it hides the yoke. We don't even have a command to hide the yoke. The only way you could do it is with a mouse. This particular update broke that. So I don't have any opportunity to basically hide that yoke. Um, so the other thing, this stream actually is is going to be in a lot more positive than what I was early this morning. Earlier this morning, I couldn't figure out how to change which um, which controller has focus. So right now, as long as I'm not touching any buttons if I just basically touch the grip on this on the index, it switches. So I touch the grip on this one, it changes. If I touch over on this one, the B button, it changes. If I click the trigger on this one, it changes. So so now I can like easily switch back and forth. Before this morning, I couldn't figure out how to do that, and I just was playing around a little bit, and I kind of figured it out. So let's go to the how I have my VR controllers set up. So uh, escape. I'm using voice attack, so it allows me to use voice commands to basically the same as I would use a keyboard or a mouse, and it allows me to use voice commands. So we're going to go to controller options. Another thing that I'm not sure why it's doing this is that every time I go over here, it does this loading thing. Uh, the other thing is when I start up Microsoft Flight Simulator, it never remembers how I have my controller set up. It always comes up and says, "Oh, we found new hardware." No idea why that's true, but it is. So if we go over here, this is the only thing I have mapped. These two, I'm not sure if I even need it. But the only really thing that I even care about is this. So VR interaction right, I have that set up to my trigger. These two here, I'll probably remove because I don't think they're necessary. Um, I have a lot of things mapped by voice. So like a like the parking brake, that all that stuff. I could do that all with voice, or I can basically just touch and pull the trigger on the parking brake, and I can put it on or take it off. So that's on my right controller, and this is on my left controller. They're basically identical. I cleaned out everything that was on here. You had things that were like brakes and other things that was kind of like, no, no, I don't need all this stuff. Let me like just clean it out. But the problem is that it's not being saved for some reason. The These VR controllers are being it's like it finds them every time, and I don't know why that is. More than likely, it's just another bug. But I just go ahead and click on customize and then say, yeah, everything looks the same. So we'll go back. And anything else here? Oh, a couple of things. We'll see if it's in here. Can't remember. Notifications, user experience. Nope, not here. The come on. General option, maybe? Yeah. Accessibility. Cockpit interaction system. It's important for this to be on lock. For the VR controller stuff to work correctly. But there is something that's really messed up. This is a bug. So if I come over here, you would think that if I click here with the trigger, I could change this. Nope, that doesn't work. Maybe come over here. Notice notice that's an arrow. But if I come over here, it puts these R's over top of it. I'm not sure what that's telling me. Is that telling me it's been being rejected? I almost think it is. So, let me see if I can actually get the mouse to work. Moving the mouse doesn't mean it's working. Come on, mouse. There it goes. So, notice this. Now, if I click on it with the mouse, It changes. Isn't that amazing? So we'll go back to lock. Why can't I do that with the VR controller? I mean, I've got the laser pointer pointed at it. I'm pulling the trigger. Nope, doing nothing. Doing nothing. But if I go down here, because I changed it, now I have to apply it and save. Actually, I can try to go back. Let's see if I can. Can I do cancel? Yeah, I'll just say cancel. But the trigger worked for that. Why doesn't it work for this? That makes no sense. And it's pretty much every one of these, like this. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So we'll go back. Cancel. Oh. Oh, this. Okay, sorry. I needed to discard it. Anything else? No. Alrighty. So what I can do is, like right now, this laser pointer like thingy is sticking out. So if I click the B button, the button closest to me, that goes off. So this is what's really crazy is if I come over here, if I click on the button, the B button over here, I can't turn it on. But if I go back over here, turn it on, and click on the button, and over here, now that laser's on over here. But I can't turn it off over here. The only way I can turn it off is come over here, turn it off, and then when this guy goes live again, it's off. Little odd. Little odd. But the whole point is I can switch back and forth. So basically all I'm doing is just touching the grip area. Just touching it. I'm not squeezing it at all. It's just touch. And the same way as the buttons. Now, buttons are push. That's interesting. It's interesting that the grip is touch, but the button is not. So I'm on the B button, but it's not doing anything. I have to actually press it for it to actually do something. So if I'm going to pull back on the trigger, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. So I had to pull back on the trigger probably 2/3 of the trigger depress before it actually switched. So pull back, pull back, pull back. Oh, that's cool. This happens too. Every once in a while, they kind of like disappear. Oh, they're back now. So I'm pulling back on the trigger on the left one, pulling back, pulling back, pulling back. Goes ahead. So the disadvantage of them using touch on the grip is that if you're kind of gripping these controllers, like say if I'm just, and not gripping, if I'm just touching the grip area on the right controller, I cannot get control of the left one. And I'm not gripping it, I'm just touching it. But I have to not be gripping, not be touching it, and then if I hit the trigger, then it will switch. So, there is, let me, escape. Escape. And if I'm talking right along and say escape, it's going to fail because I have to kind of give it a little bit of breathing room for it to kind of recognize the commands. So where did I want to go? Let me go to general option first, then VR mode. So, and basically I have these kind of like fancy, like control and shift, and I have these all pretty fancy so that I can use voice attack, and these commands won't be duplicated anywhere. So binding horizontal, need to get down here. Alrighty, grab yoke, I have it on hold. I'm not quite sure yet. So change binding. So this is controller options. So I'm gonna go over here. And I'm not sure what the difference is. If I'm in VR or not, I'm not sure. One other thing is, I don't know what that is. I don't know what the touch pointer is. I'm not. Is that a touch screen? Not so sure. I don't think I have a touch screen on the system, so I don't know. So, what do I want to do? Let me select an input. Yeah, here we go. So, over here you have two things. You have force squeeze and you have squeeze. Uh, I tried force squeeze. Like I was gonna have it where if I squeeze the grip, that I would turn on the VR toolbar. I could never make this work. Squeeze worked, where I would just touch it. I would just touch the grip. That worked. But force squeeze, I don't know what they're referring to. I just don't know. But when you let's roll up here a little bit. Okay, so you have this A button, and then you have a button that says A touch. Um, what touch means is that you just touch the A button, and just the A without that means you actually press the button. So there's a difference because the Valve Index controllers have capacitive sensors in the buttons, so it knows when you've touched. So there probably should be one for trigger too. Let me look. Maybe not. Hello. Yep. And now somehow I actually got to. Oh, that's a sign. Let me back to select input. Let me go down. Yeah. Yeah. So you have trigger. You have actually two triggers. I'm not sure why that's true. Yeah, I'm not sure that at all. But you have trigger touch. So if you just touch the trigger button, there's a capacitive sensor in there. And then generally the trigger is you have to pull the trigger back by a certain amount for it to work. So we'll just go back here. So I'm gonna jump out of this area and I'm going to go to controller bindings. So this is part of Steam VR, and you manage controller bindings for Microsoft or FS 2020. Notice that the active controller is an index controller and active controller binding is default. So this is the default bindings that Microsoft and Asobo told Steam they want these bindings. So you can, like if I click on here, show bindings on controller. And if you look, you say bindings from OpenXR. So that's it is Steam VR, but the bindings are from OpenXR. So I'm not sure if this is. It seems like this particular feature only works the first time. If you do this the second time, then when I actually like squeeze, I don't see the I don't see it on these displays. I don't see it. So like say if I pull the trigger, where's the trigger? Trigger's at the top. If I pull the trigger, well, that was kind of cool. Not sure why that happened, uh, but I don't see a response. The very first time I looked at these, I could absolutely see a response. So I'm gonna click on close, and so we're back in the cockpit. Um, so disadvantage of having the yoke here is if I get close to it, um, it's going to oops, it's going to get highlighted, which I didn't want. Alrighty, so like right now, I should be able to. So if I go over here and I highlight this, and then I pull the trigger in, it turns yellow. So I can like slide it in and slide it back. Same way with the mixture. I can pull it. Flaps and put them down, back up. I am in the default Cessna G1000. Believe it or not, I bought the premium deluxe version, and I bought it specifically because I wanted a steam gauge Cessna 172. To my surprise, when I tried to use the VR controllers in Microsoft Flight Simulator with the steam gauge 172, it told me that this aircraft is not fully supported for VR controllers. So I paid extra money for that particular airplane, only to be told that the VR controller support doesn't include that airplane. Talk about disappointing. Like, why not? Is it because it's got a DRM? I don't know. I don't know what else it would be. But it's still just sad. It's like, why not have every default aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator supported with VR controllers if you say you have VR controller support? I don't know what's so hard about this, but it is what it is. So now, if I'm doing any testing, I got to do it in a G1000, which I don't particularly care for. That's okay, but it's not my comfort zone. So, well, enough chatting. We'll see if I can actually get this airplane started up. So let me see if I can see anything here. That's a beacon. So let me see if I can get you on. Whoops. No, not a beacon. That's a taxi. That's a beacon, I guess. The text is very, very small. So we'll hello, come on. Alrighty. So we'll see if we can get the plane to start. Here we're good, here we're good. Give it just a little bit of fuel.
Valencia ground, Cessna November 256 Bravo Golf, requesting pushback.
No, I didn't.
Cessna November 256 Bravo Golf, pushback request accepted.
Stop pushback. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And I have to consciously make sure that on this controller I'm not touching it, or I can't use this one over here, or what I normally would use on this side is just to kind of get the plane started up here. So I have taxi light on, looks like I got the beacon light on, and I think we're about okay. As you can see, I mean, these are completely functional. So all that worked. So if I come over here, where's so this is the heading knob. So I'm gonna highlight the heading knob, hold the trigger, and then rotate. So you can see that I cannot finally adjust the heading. I mean, that heading is going from 3 to almost 6. I mean, it's going almost 20 numbers. That is unacceptable if you want usable VR controller interaction. So I'm going to go the opposite direction. Now, I mean, it's almost going 10 at a click. Like, that is just... And I just, like, I got to highlight it. I'm pulling on the trigger to see if I can get it to move that way. Nope. Yeah, it's just a really, really coarse adjustment. So, is there a coarse adjustment? Yeah, which one is it? The little guy. So let's see if we can move this guy. I must have been moving the barrel. No, that's a barrel. Huh. I would have thought. I would have thought right there is the course. It says CRS on it, and I'm highlighting this, so it says I'm moving something, but I ain't. But it ain't that. So I'm not sure what that is. So, like I said, I'm not the G1000 is not my comfort zone. So and so some of that stuff is maybe just related to I'm just not comfortable knowing what to adjust here. So let's try to adjust. This is probably the same thing. Yeah. The other thing that I'm finding is I don't have any haptic feedback. Normally, not normally. When I'm using VR controllers in X-Plane, if I come in like this and highlight it, I'll feel it in the controller. I'll feel it in my hand. The controller will kind of rumble a little bit as soon as I'm in a position where I can make a change. So in here, I have to highlight it and then pull the trigger, and then I can rotate it. But when I highlight it, at least on these index controllers, I don't get any. I don't feel anything in the controller. So okay. So I didn't really plan on doing any flying. I just wanted to kind of explain like what I'm kind of seeing and how I ended up. And like I said, so right now I'm not touching this controller at all. So if I pull the trigger on the left one, it goes right over there. So it's completely usable. Uh, this this is absolutely. I can certainly fly this way, and but what I find in VR, even with because I'm running a Vive Pro 2, so I'm running a pretty high-end headset. But these numbers, this lettering here, this is really, really, really hard to see, and it's probably why I like to run the analog version of the Cessna 172. So I can lean in and I can see it, but that is really, really, really small text. So um, I'm kind of curious. I'd like to. I'll jump into the sometime later on today. I'm going to jump into the X-plane, and basically I think I'm going to go. I'm going to go into the X-plane G1000 Cessna, and just to see what the difference is because everything over here is fairly readable, But when you get down into this area over here, that stuff is really, really, really small. So and anytime you get the font size down too small, everything's a little bit difficult. But like the fonts up down here, this isn't too bad. This is fairly readable down in here. So that's not too bad. And the same way as so if I look, I just kind of turn over and I look over in this area, I can see that's 124.805, I think, 885. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad. You know, it's just like this stuff here is just the fonts are whether they're whether it's a problem with my headset, because my headset does do a little bit of I think it's called bloom, and I can absolutely see it where off that lettering there's it's kind of hard to explain. Uh, it's kind of like a glow or a shadow on it, so it decreases the where I don't see that over here. It decreases the clarity of those of that text. So, okie dokie. So not too bad, not too bad. So yeah, me I'll just like jump out of the cockpit. Cockpit. So I'm out here, and like I said, I do like this kind of stuff. I do it with voice attack. I have a custom profile that I did to um, help me with these things, and I decided I'll just keep that profile during these initial tests of VR controller support, just to see how just to kind of help me along. So I pull the old yoke back, shove her forward, roll it over, roll it back the other way. And like when you're flying an airplane, you're not moving this yoke. This yoke will turn 90 degrees. You're never going to be doing that. No, no. You're maybe doing this. That's probably excessive in its own right. So, but I just love. This is a Fulcrum 1 yoke, and I just love it to death. It was built in the UK, and it is one of my better flight sim purchases. So my pedals are MFG crosswinds, and same thing. These both these pieces of hardware are not cheap, but my goal is to use only two pieces of hardware, and the other interactions I do with the plane is in VR is with my controllers. The other thing I would really like is that if they actually showed the buttons. So if they showed the buttons, showed the trigger, showed the thumbstick, um, that would be handy. That would be handy. So you could actually test, you know, if I'm pushing the button down, is the button working, but it's not being recognized by the sim? You could discern that pretty quickly. But the way they are, they're quite unobtrusive. There's no doubt about that. Uh, but that would just be a handy feature to have. So like I said, like right now, I just touch the grip. I touch this grip, th- that grip, that grip. There's certain places I can touch this where it doesn't work. So I'm also learning that. And like I'm holding this controller. So when I touch this one, you can see the arrow comes on, it goes right back off. Interesting. Got one other thing I need to show. Cockpit. Cockpit. Uh, VR toolbar. So I have that set up as a voice command. So whatever the command is for that, I just have voice attack. I have a command for that. So let's get the laser pointer working. So if I click on weather, doesn't work. Snap, doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. So, I broke this. Take a mouse. Hopefully I can get my mouse to work. Yeah, we got it to work. Okay. So we'll click on the mouse. Clicked on the mouse. Clicked on the mouse. Clicked on the mouse. Mouse don't work. So, uh, stop, stop pushback. Stop pushback. every once in a while they like to get bored. They want to come push the plane back, and but I have a command that basically will tell them to quit. uh, so that doesn't work either with the mouse or with the touch controllers. So it's kind of amazing. We actually give VR controller support, but the VR toolbar doesn't work with it or with the mouse. So what's the solution? Okay, the solution is control plus 0. Not on the numpad, but just 0. So what I did is I mapped it to a voice command. So my voice command is fix toolbar. Maybe the command didn't work. Fix toolbar. Hello? So now it works. What happened before is I hadn't stopped talking. so so voice attack was confused as to what I wanted it to do. So all this stuff works. So you can turn this on, turn it off. ATC. So that's the solution for that until they actually get a hot fix. So to resolve that. Um, if it takes you a week to get a hot fix, the right term isn't hot fix. The term is fixed, but it's not hot. A hot fix should come within a day or two, not 3, not a week. So just Bill's personal opinion. But other than that, yeah, it's kind of it's completely workable. So it's getting kind of dark. Yeah, let me see if I can fix that. Yeah, it's amazing. So in Spain, it's like 5:38, and it's actually getting pretty dark. So let's see if I can move this. I guess I can. So on some of the sliders, it actually works, and I still don't understand what the R means. I I uh, I haven't heard a good explanation of that, but but that there works. I'm doing this with and if I wanted to use the other controller, so I just don't touch it. So use the other controller. So that all absolutely works. So a lot of it, I mean, there's no doubt I'm quite happy with the progress we made, um, but we're gonna have Osovo and Microsoft are gonna have to do quite a bit more work to get this to to a place where it's, as far as I'm concerned, completely usable without having to use workarounds and band-aids and all that kind of stuff. Um, that absolutely is going to have to happen. But what I am absolutely not sure of is how quickly they can get it fixed. If they won't touch this again until the next software update, that's that would be more than disappointing. I mean, because the pace of what I've watched on the sim, and I've used it from the beginning. Uh, beginning, I couldn't use VR. I am a VR enthusiast, but I couldn't use it in VR, so I bought a Track IR and used Track IR. But as soon as I got VR, as soon as they supported VR, I moved to it. But when I found out that they implemented VR without VR controller support, I was like, are you kidding me? Um, Understand I'm coming from X-Plane, that I've had VR controller support for almost 3 years. It isn't like the functionality isn't out for people to look at and go, "Oh, you don't have to do it the same way." No, 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 not at all. But it should have the same functionality. That's all I'm asking for, and I'm asking for that choice. Is there's people that don't want to use VR controllers. That's great. You want to use a mouse? That's great. But you need to have the choice, and that's my very strong view. Is that I want the choice, so I can uh, enjoy this sim uh, the way I prefer. And we are much closer than we were before software update 7. Much closer. Much closer. And I'm much closer than I was this morning. So just kind of playing around with things, kind of figuring out how things work. But we're not there yet. So I think, let me see if I can get this plane shut back down again without breaking anything. So come over here, turn off the avionics. Well, I'm trying. Come on, turn off. Oh, grab this. So all that absolutely worked. So we'll turn off the. It isn't too hard to figure out how to switch back and forth. So we turn off the battery. I think that was the alternator. Turn magnetos. Come on, turn off. Yeah, they need to work on the rotate part. It's not. You have to over rotate. Like say on the magnetos. On the magnetos, I should only turn it as much as I would with my hand on a real airplane. So on a real airplane, if I held a trigger back like this and turned it about that far, that would be off. I had to turn it. I actually had to do another grab of the key to get it turned all the way off. That is way too excessive. So what I don't know is there some configuration somewhere per aircraft where you can configure that, or is it just a global thing? So I don't know. Uh, I don't know those details. Um, Referring again back to X-Plane. X-Plane has a VR configuration file for each airplane. So you can individually configure an airplane, whether it's these knobs, whether it's how far you rotate the controller to do the key, the ignition switch, ignition key, um, how um, how far you have to move the throttle in and out. All of that stuff is a per aircraft configuration file, uh, and it works quite well. So you can actually turn these. So if you have like a knob that doesn't turn well, um, or you the same thing. If you have to excessively turn it, or on the opposite end, it's excessive. So when you just barely rotate, all of a sudden you went 10 or 15. You can control that so that you can slow that down. So so whether I'm going to do that today or tomorrow, I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it tomorrow. Um, I'm going to basically do exactly the same thing as I did here in X-Plane, and I'm going to do exactly the same plane, the G1000 version of the default Cessna 172. Uh, and I am going to do exactly the same and show what, in Bill's opinion, proper a benchmark for VR controller support. I'll do that tomorrow. I'm not going to do it today. And actually, I won't do it tomorrow because I got to get my car inspected. But then I will do it on Wednesday. And but I want to do that. I want to um, and I'm not talking about anything. I'm not talking about how airports look. I'm not looking about how pretty a scenery looks, a simulator looks. Uh, I am only talking about VR controller functionality. That's it. Nothing else. So it's not this is better, that's better. No, 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 no. This is functionality. Uh, how how functional a VR controller can be in a simulator. And like you've seen here, um, there's a couple of things where I had to go back to the mouse to get something done. That is not functional. The VR controller should replace the mouse. When I fly in X-Plane, I use the controller to tell it to go in the VR. I do not use a mouse from that point forward until the plane is completely shut down, and I'm using a mouse to get basically out of VR. That's how that's functionality. That's how it should be. And when we buy a VR headset, they come with VR controllers. They sell them together for a reason, and they are pretty neat. You know where and like this is so much better than it was. So where I can just move to all of these things and interact with them. So I can interact up here. You know, and if there was something over here, yeah, so I can interact over here. Try doing that with a mouse. Try reaching back over here and doing this with the mouse. Tell me how you do that. I don't know how you do that. I don't. But that is the difference of VR controllers. Is that you can you can do these kind of things. Not so sure. Oh, I haven't figured that part out. I'm trying to figure out why when I put the button on, the light don't come on. But I may have these turned down. I'll figure that out. I was disappointing. I was like, come on now, you should turn on, you know. So, but that's the advantage of a VR controller, where you can do these kind of things. So, and the fact that we have that now in Microsoft Flight Simulator, that's cool. That is that is cool. I am I am happy. Um, but we're only partway down the journey. Um, don't think that when X-Plane brought VR support, native VR support, that the VR controllers worked out the door. No. uh, it was it was a journey, and and it wasn't a couple of days. It took, if I remember back, it took a it took a few months before before we're at a place where we are right now. So, uh, if it takes a few months, stop pushback. That's it. If you like sitting there long enough, it's kind of like I think you need pushback. It's hilarious. But it did. It took a few months, and but during that time, quite a bit differently is I would be on the beta releases. So they would it would be days to weeks. You would get a new version, and which would fix some things, and you know, but you wouldn't have to wait a couple of months for some progress to be seen. So that's quite a bit different than what I'm experiencing here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So that's kind of a learning curve for me how the pace of uh, of getting things that are broken fixed. So because I know there's things that I know that are broken that have been broken since software update 3, never to be touched again, and that's in my opinion, I call that regression. You know, if you had something that worked and it doesn't work on a next version, then that's regression. And that in software packages, that should not happen over a long period of time. So, alrighty, gonna wrap it. VR toolbar. VR toolbar. So, I certainly hope this was informative, and to anybody who enjoys this content, please click on the follow button. And I I only stream in VR, and I will be streaming Microsoft Simulator VR much more than what I had in the past, since we got quite a bit working. So I probably will take a flight. But today just wasn't the day. There's still a few things that aren't quite. I'm not quite happy with, and I'm certainly hoping that they come out with like a hot fix, and fix some things. But I'm not sure, even if they come out with one, how many things they're gonna fix. But hey, that's life. But like I said, please click on the follow button if you like this content. I stream VR content in Microsoft Flight Simulator and in X-Plane, and I personally don't really have a preference. I enjoy them both. They both have strengths and weaknesses, and there's also on the X-Plane side, X-Plane 12 is, I don't think, too far away. I would be surprised we would be into the next year without a private beta, if not maybe a public beta. But I got no inside information, none whatsoever. Um, I'm just hoping that be able to play with another new sim, and that from all the things that that Laminar Research is dripping out, looks pretty good. so we'll just have to see. Thanks all. Yeah, guys, have a great day.